Hi, guys.
Catherine here. If you guys just want to introduce yourself as you ask your question.
Well,
It's her first availability here.
and I just wanted to start with saying thank you for being here. I know I've been with the Browns for almost a year now. It was a year of first for me for many reasons, but I'm really excited to meet you guys today and for you guys to be here. On that, I'll take any questions.
So what kind of whirlwind has this last year been for you?
Arrived with the Browns in May. I was with the Eagles previously, so came here in this new role as assistant GM, VP of football ops, and then I was pregnant with my first baby, and he was born midway. I was hoping to be there for the joint practice with the Eagles, but I missed it by a day. So he was born August 14th. So I was on mat leave for a portion of the season, and then got back week 10.
My name's Dan, by the way.
Hi.
So how did you get to know Andrew during your time with the Eagles, and kind of what were your impressions of him?
Yeah, so I joined the Eagles in 2019, and he was my direct supervisor. So really quickly we built a great relationship. And what was great about my role at the Eagles is because Andrew was really involved in everything, helping Howie. So I got to get a glimpse of everything as I grew and developed in my role. And one of the great things about Andrew is if you do a good job, he's going to keep giving some stuff to you and trust you and empower you, which really allowed me to grow super quickly and learn a ton.
And then how did it end up that he reached out to you and you ended up coming to Cleveland? How did that whole process go?
So really the opportunity came when Kwesi got the job in Minnesota. So obviously his role was open at the Browns. So they went through the official process through requesting permission and all that stuff. And then at that point, we just started the process, had our conversations, and then felt like it was a good fit for me to take on that new responsibility and join the Browns.
Andrew gave you such great high praise yesterday, which was really cool. But you're really one step away from becoming the first bona fide GM female in the NFL. Do you feel ready for that? And are you excited about that prospect?
Well, I'm excited in this role, to be honest with you. Like, I'm excited to be with the Browns. I learn daily. I'm eager to learn, and I feel that you are never done with learning. That's one of the things I think is very important. So I am really focused right now on helping the Browns, contributing to the success of this team. And then what opportunity comes, I'm excited for too. And quite frankly, like, I've never really thought about my next job. I've always focused on the one that I currently have, and that's what led me to great opportunities on and on and on throughout my career. So definitely excited for what's up for us this season.
Catherine, Tony Grossi from
Hi.
ESPN, Atlanta Demand. Since we're in free agent and draft season, what specifically is your role in those two?
Involved in both. So I'm part of our senior group, strategy group, so really helping Andrew with going through film evaluations, both pro and college, and as well as all strategic planning, player acquisitions, and all the strategy that goes behind the acquisition that we're going to make in the offseason. So very, very involved on both these processes.
Catherine, Chris Raiche from the Akron Beacon Journal. I know you were busy while on maternity leave with much more important things, but did you have an opportunity while you were away to how did you stay connected during that time, and that vantage point, maybe not being right in the middle of it, did it give you a different perspective that you could look at, view things?
It's funny you asked me that because actually I was so responsive initially on still work stuff that Andrew almost kicked me out of one of our tread to make sure I take some time. But I'll say this, like, early on I was able to combine really both because as you guys who have kids know, like, the newborns sleep a lot. So I was able to continue to watch our tape every week. But to your point about outside perspective, there is something to say about watching our game tape, not being with the team and removing maybe that bias that you could have in season with the ebbs and flows. So it was a good perspective for me, but I definitely wanted to stay connected, but also take the time to be present at home as well. So fine balance there, I would say.
Catherine, Ashley Bastock from Cleveland.com. I guess just with you and Andrew and the relationship you had in Philly, like, are there similarities with your personalities or the way you view things? Like, what are those kind of crossovers between you two, I guess?
I would definitely say so. I think we work really, really well together. I learned a ton from him, and I think we can also complement each other in certain areas. I think I like to see my job as how I can make Andrew look good and how I can take things off his plate so he can focus on all the strategic decisions and things that he has going on. So really I see myself as as much of a help as I can be for him, and I do think our personality matches really well as both as friends and as coworkers.
I forgot the first time, but it's Scott Petra.
Yeah.
Obviously, last year had so many positives, but were there some difficult times? The fact that you weren't there all the time, and do you finally feel like you're settled in now, maybe after the beginning?
Yeah, to the last part of your question, I definitely do feel in a much better place and settled, and kind of having my routine and how I'm going to balance both worlds, because I will say this is two very demanding jobs, two full-time jobs, I would say. Definitely challenging early on, just because it's just by nature I wanted to be involved, I wanted to stay connected, and I had maybe a little bit of a hard time finding that sweet spot. But as the weeks and months went on, and I just have to give credit honestly to our ownership group and to Andrew for just being so flexible and just giving me the ability to adjust it and being able to find that spot where we both felt comfortable.
Catherine,
What's your
I
son's
believe-
name?
Xavier,
David.
with a Z.
Oh.
Now, I believe you were hired after the Browns had acquired Deshaun Watson. Was it a difficult decision for you to join the organization that acquired him?
It was not, and the reason is I had complete trust in the due diligence and the very thorough process. Knowing how Andrew operates, I knew that anything that had gone through to get to this decision was definitely well thought of, and they had left no stone unturned, and for those reasons I felt really comfortable.
In terms of the Browns having to get under the salary cap and make some tough decisions coming up, and we already know about John Johnson 3, but how involved are you in helping with cap management and the decisions that you have to make over the next few weeks?
It's definitely a group effort. We all work together. I'm very involved with, again, Andrew, our senior group, our contract management group, and just really making sure that we use the cap as our mechanism to manage our cash spending and really finding ways to be creative here and put a very competitive product on the field.
And do you feel, and Mary Kay Cabot, we've met before,
I know.
so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, totally fine.
So do you feel really confident in your guys' ability to do whatever you need to do to get under the cap and have the money that you want to spend on any free agents or trades coming up?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the biggest lesson you've kind of learned in the last, let's just say year or so, or 2 years?
Professionally or personally?
Both?
Both? Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Professionally, for me, actually, you know what? The way I'm going to answer this question is actually going to combine both, because the thing that I've learned the most is how to not feeling guilty, having to manage both my professional and my personal life, and I think it's hard to manage that initially. And the reason I say this is because you want to be at work. I'm used to extremely long hours, and I want to be 100% at work and give it my all. But now I'm a mother as well, and I want to be able to be there for my son and I just don't think as women in the industry we have to choose. I do think we should be able to do both, and when you have the right advocates around you to help you do that, which I feel so blessed and fortunate that I do have that, I think you can make it work. And I really do not. I've heard so many young women over the years tell me hey, whenever it's time to have kids, I may have to step away. I don't know if I can make this work, and if I can help and show that it's possible, then to me that's a big win.
If you were here when the Watson decision was being discussed, would you have recommended investing that much in him, and why?
It's a tough question to answer now, because that's hypothetical, and I don't really like to go into hypothetically what I would have done in that situation. All I will say is that joining club after this decision was made was absolutely not a concern for me. I felt really comfortable there.
I think the team's success is tied solely to his success going forward.
I would say, to me, your question, I think, has the key word in it, is team. So the success of this team is tied to the team, and it's not just him. He is a big part of it, but there's a lot of other players, staff members. We all work together, coaches. We all work together towards the same goal, and it takes everyone.
What do you think the team's biggest need is this offseason?
We always look at it holistically. I think there's always areas to improve at every position group, I would say, whether that's depth or whether that's starting caliber players. So the way we really look at it is be creative in all avenues, whether that's trade, whether that's free agency, whether that's draft, whether that's undrafted free agency, just to make sure we bring as many good players as we can to put the team together.
What impact did Mark Trestman have on your career?
Huge impact. So Mark and I missed each other with the Alouettes because he was the head coach there. I joined right after he left for the NFL, but he did hire me as his director of football operation at the XFL Tampa Bay Viper. That was really short stint. I was there only 6 months before Howie called and offered me my first opportunity in the NFL. So huge impact there, just giving me a chance. I wanted to get closer to America. To get into the NFL ultimately, so that was a very nice stepping stone that led me to my position with the Eagles.
I wanted to ask you about Howie. What are like some of the biggest takeaways from the time spent with him, and organizationally, what can you guys kind of try to replicate given their success?
I would say this, like I wouldn't be the person that I am today if it wasn't for everything I learned from Howie. Like Howie is amazing, excellent at his job, and I learned a lot of like strategies on how aggressive they are, whether that's from contract management to player acquisitions. Like they just look through every avenues to get better, and they have great decision-making processes. So I learned a lot about that and how he handles all of this, and I do believe that it helped me become a better executive now with the Browns and bring in some of those strategies as well.
Were you involved at all in the interview process for the new coordinators?
Yes, I was.
You sat in on the interviews?
Yes, so I was with Jim at the Eagles, so I had some familiarity there. But yes, I interviewed all our top 3 candidates.
Andrew raves about your player evaluation skills.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about how you got so good at that?
So definitely learning from a lot of people that I was around ever since I got into the business. So I was on the road a lot scouting when I was in the CFL. And some of the things I consider myself a student of the game, and it's important for me to always learn, and I still do this to this day, and I will continue to do it the rest of my career, is like picking position groups every off season. I sit in install meetings, I just listen all the way again to the fundamentals, and to me it's important to better understand what our coaches are teaching and what we're looking for, so then when I do get on the road or I put the tape on, then I can know exactly what to look for and make sure that's in line with what we're looking for as a team.
Catherine, kind of along those lines, to follow up on that, with your familiarity with Jim Schwartz on top of the player evaluation that you do, like how much does that help to have a coordinator that you have some of that familiarity and background with?
It definitely helps. I'll say this, I'll give credit to Jim. Jim is a really, really good talent evaluator, and he's also a clear communicator, so it's always very clear what Jim is expecting and what he's looking for his defense. So that's been very helpful, and of course the familiarity helps. There's going to be some things that are going to be similar to what he's done in the past, but there's going to be new things as well. So I think being able to have those open line of communication and all being on the same page, that's something that's really important to Andrew and Kevin.
What can Jim do to kind of unlock Miles even more?
I mean, that's probably a good question for Jim, to be honest. But I just think at the end of the day, like the way his scheme is, the way he attacks up front, I just think it's going to put a light on those guys' athleticism and ability to get off the ball, to be honest.
How many languages do you speak fluently, and maybe how might that help you as you go through your career, especially as this becomes more of a global game?
That's a great question. I speak 3. French is my first language. I'd say English is second. Spanish used to be second, but I don't practice as much anymore, so I would put it a third, I would say. It does help because there's more and more players that are coming. I mean, I'm thinking of Bergeron from Syracuse, who's coming in, speaks French. I mean, his English is actually impeccable, which was surprising because he learned it when he got to college, which is quite to me, I thought was quite impressive. But anyways, it does help because you can build some personal connection with some of these players who are French speaking. I haven't met a ton who speak Spanish. I'll say J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was one at the Eagles, definitely there. But yeah, definitely helps for sure, generally.
Do you speak analytics?
You have to be with the Browns. Definitely, yes.
How close do you think the roster is to being, on the same level with whatever the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Bills?
I think, to be honest with you, like every year we strive. I mean, I'm going to give you a very obvious answer, but we strive to be a championship caliber team, and that's all we focus on in terms of putting the best product on the field. So really, to answer your question, I think there's always areas for improvement. That's what we're focusing on in this offseason, but I feel really excited and confident about what we're going to have on the field for this 2023 season.
What's your son doing?
Great. It's my first time leaving him more than 2 days, so big, another big first here.
What month was he born in again? I'm sorry.
August.
In August.
So 6 months now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Thanks, Marky.